Hi everyone, today we'll try to see if it's possible to finish every map in Super Blocky Ball without jumping and taking any booster. And you'll see that some strats are really creative to skip a booster or a jump. So enjoy and let's start directly with Tambourines. Tambourines is the first map in the game and it's pretty easy. Most runners takes no booster in the map, so that's not a problem. And most maps were made to be possible jumpless, so this map isn't a problem. Same thing for Roblox circuit, this map is possible jumpless and boostless, and combining those isn't a problem either. Now Mach Manor. At first glance it seems really easy, but we see our first issue when we reach this part. It seems impossible to pass, but actually we can just go to the left to pass the first line of boosters, but this line is impossible to pass. Does that mean that we can't finish Mach Manor without taking any booster? Well, actually no. In Super Blocky Ball there is a secret marble called the cube. And the funny thing about the cube is that his hitbox is also a cube, it's not a ball. Which means that when you roll, you bounce a bit. So you can bounce above the booster. But here is our second issue. This booster is impossible to pass, we can't bounce above it. So is it impossible to finish this map without jumping and without boosting? Well, there's actually a way. For that we need to talk a little about checkpoints. During a race, every player has a variable that we call the lap completion. When the race begins, the variable is set to 0. Every checkpoint also has a number assigned to them. So what happens is that when you touch checkpoint, it looks at your lap completion, and if the value of the lap completion is 1 below the checkpoint's number, then it will set your lap completion to the checkpoint's value. For example, if my lap completion is 1 and I touch the checkpoint number 2, then my lap completion will be set to 2. But if I go back and touch the checkpoint number 1, my lap completion will stay as number 2. The only moment where you lose the lap completion is when you touch the final checkpoint, because it will set back to 0. Those information might not be totally accurate, but we don't have access to a decompilation of the game and we can't have access to the game code. This is as far as we know. Now that you understood checkpoints, it's time to talk about parallel union. So after bouncing above this booster, we can take the second to last checkpoint, then do a full lap backwards. So that means bouncing above the booster again, then finally taking the final checkpoint. And we finish the lap. Due to the randomness of the cube, I didn't manage to finish a full lap legit, but it's theoretically possible to finish the full map like that. The wildcard on triple circuit is already jumpless, and skipping the boosters isn't something really hard. Like not hard at all. So it's really easy to finish this map jumpless and boostless. There's nothing interesting to say about Stone Stadium. This map is really easy to do boostless and jumpless. This map is just boring compared to the next map, Barrel Boardwalk. This map seems fine until we reach this long row of boosters. They seem unskippable, but actually we can go to the right to skip them. But we reach our second problem is those two boosters that we can't go next to them to skip them. But checkpoints will help us again. As you can see, there's quite a bit of distance between the start of the checkpoint and the booster, meaning that we can touch the checkpoint without touching the booster. So what we can do is touch the checkpoint, then reset the character, and we'll spawn above. And the lap is basically completed. The first half of Glass House is fine until we reach this point. There's those 3 boosters that we can't pass by, and we can't go above without taking a booster. But I still managed to find 2 ways to skip those boosters. The first way is simply to do a lap backward to take the next booster, then finish the lap. And the second way is a bit more random, but you take the cube and you bounce above the booster. This method seems consistent. When I tried, I managed to do it twice in a row quite easily. So yes, Glass House isn't a problem. North Palace is really easy. There's this part that is kinda tricky, but we can actually pass through the right or the left to skip the red boosters, and everything else is not an issue. I have nothing much to say about Chedeski's Castle. There's only 2 boosters that are easily skippable, and because maps were made to be possible jumpless, there's no tricky part. We have a small problem with Blazing Mountain. There's this big gap, and the only way to pass above it is to either take the boosters or jump. If only we had a way to take the next checkpoint without going above this gap. As you might have guessed, we can just do the lap backward to take the next checkpoint, then finish the lap normally. It takes a bit of time, but it works well, and we can do 3 laps. This map is your average no jump no boost map. In Clockwork there's the typical booster that seems to block the path, but you don't actually need to touch them to continue. And there's also a point where you can't continue, so you have to do the lap backward to touch the next checkpoint to finally finish the lap in a classy way. I actually managed to fail here. This map is definitely special. Rock Oasis is fine till you reach those 3 red boosters. At first we might think that we can just do a lap backward to get it, and that's fine. But doing the lap backward is quite hard already. we have this bounce that is somehow quite inconsistent. Then we need to take speed and go between those two yellow boosters to bounce and reach the top of the platform, to finally go between two boosters. But when we reach this point, we have to go below, because on top there's a line of yellow boosters that block us from reaching the checkpoint. Once we took the checkpoint, we have to reset the character, and then we need to do the lap backward again to take the checkpoint that we missed. So the 3 quite annoying part, we have to do it twice per lap, and there's 3 laps. So we have to do it 6 times without failing. The first time I finished a lap like that, I had that time around 65 seconds, which is too slow because 65 times 3 is over 180 seconds. But it's still possible to finish the map, we just need to be fast. After a few attempts I managed to get a lap below 50 seconds. So the map that has the most amount of low air, which is a trick that requires you to take boost and jump, is possible, no jump, no boost. I won't go into every detail in Slime Factory because there's a lot of things to say. It was known for years that it was possible to finish the map with 2 boosters in total, and this was already one of the hardest challenges in Super Blocky Ball. If you want to see the route, you can go in Blackbird's video, I'm putting the link in the description. But the things that this route use the marble and not the cube. So I want to see if it was possible to finish the map with the cube, no jump and no boost. And it is theoretically possible, but it's also incredibly hard. And before we see the insane route to Slime Factory, can you please like and subscribe? I don't usually ask in the middle of the video, but if you enjoyed the video, don't forget that you can like and subscribe. It helps me a lot. My goal with this video is to make people discover SBB in a new way, and that it is possible to do some SBB content with just being a personal best video. If nobody sees this video, then nobody can discover the game and have fun on it. But now, get back to the video. So first, when you reach this point, you have to bounce on the border as well as getting a good cube bounce to go above the boosters. Once you get it, you need to bounce above this fence and get a good cube bounce to get enough height to skip those boosters too. That already is incredibly lucky, because if you fail with the cube, which is something RNG, you have to restart the wall run basically. But it was the easy part, because then you need to bounce on this border and get a good cube bounce to go above the boosters, but there is void. And you have to keep the fence again here. Once it's done, it's becoming a bit easier for now. So now you have to go on the fence and gain speed to get a good bounce to go on the wall. So for the drop down, you need to go to the right and then go to the left, because you need to gain speed mid-air to be able to skip the booster. And that's the most consistent way I found. Then you can easily continue until you reach this point. And this point is the hardest part of the run. It's incredibly random, and if you fail, you are sure to restart the run. You need to get speed to go high on the wall, to then drop down to gain even more speed, to bounce on the wall to go above the booster. And when it's done, you can barely climb the slope and finish the lap. Everything I said, you have only one try to do it, or else you will touch a booster, and you have to do it twice. And you have to do it quite fast. So this is the hardest challenge in Super Blocky Ball, finishing Slime Factory no jump no boost, and I don't think anyone will ever do it soon. So I'm promoting a bounty on the map, 400 Robux for the first players that manage to finish Slime Factory no jump no boost. We are blocked by this line of yellow booster in palm top here, but we can just take the cube and bounce over those boosters to pass them. And I think we can do the lap backward to take the next checkpoint and finish the map. Coastal Cove is absolutely no problem. This map is very easy to finish no jump no boost. It requires no specific tricks at all. This was literally a challenge in the bingo tournament, so of course the desert dunes is possible. We might think that the climbing at the end might not be possible, but it's actually really easy. You need just a little bit of speed and you can climb all the way to the top. And if you want to try the desert dunes boostless, jumpless, well, you can, but it's really boring to play. You will bump a lot. Pipe squared is really easy, no jump no boost, I have nothing much to say. It is somehow quite fun to play, so you should try it yourself. And yet another map that is completely free. To be honest, it's probably harder to take a booster than not to take one in Chicky Temple. But yeah, right now this challenge is really easy, nothing can stop us. Daisy is completely no problem. You first start climbing the hill, skipping the boosters, and you even skip the springs because why not? Then you enter the volcano and you skip again the booster and go on the railing, then go on the bridge, if you're not absolutely stupid to fall off the bridge. But then, the disaster happens. So this is quite special because it's the only map in the game that you can't finish boostless. No matter what you try, which glitch you're using, wherever you place the beach ball you can't pass those boosters. And that's with jumping. But here we can't jump. So we can't reach the second booster, so we have to take the first one to be able to reach the second boosters to finally being able to finish the map. So this map alone adds 2 boosters to the count, and that's just because of one part. So yeah, it's not possible to finish the whole game boostless, jumpless, but we'll try to see how many jumps or how many boosts we need. With only 2 boosters on the map, Marines Remastered is one of the easiest no jump no boost map. The 2 boosters are at the start of the lap and are really easy to skip, and the map is possible jumpless. And I have yet another bad news for you. On Checker Cliff there is this ramp, and this ramp will be no problem normally, but it's on ice, meaning that it's slippery, so when you try to climb it you lose speed and fall. After doing many back and forth I only managed to beat this high. Sadly we have no way to pass this part and just taking this booster. Hopefully the rest of the map is free, we can do it jumpless and boostless, but it reset that this ramp is blocking us from doing the map boostless and jumpless. But I have a feeling that this map might be possible to do completely no jump no boost, but we have to find a thing. And I hope we'll find it soon. And if we do, I'll probably do a short about it. When I started working on this video, I thought Springlock tip would be a lot harder. And as we can see at the start, there's a problem, we can't use the cannon. It's very annoying because the cannon is what's linked the start to the end of the map. While we can use the backward strat by going backwards. But we have a problem, this wall. It seems like there's no way to go on the road above, but actually we can do a precise bounce to reach the top. From there we can gain as much speed as possible to try to bounce above this little part, and then we can take every checkpoint and go back at the start and go backward again to finish the first lap. Before working on the video, I thought it was only possible with the cube, but when I started working on Springlock's tip, I found out that it was actually possible with the marble, which is a lot easier and more consistent than the cube. So I thought, why not maybe try to do a full run, and that's what I did. It's time to end the video on the last map, Residential Rally. And if you're not bad at the game and able to not touch walls, then this map is really free, no jump, no boost. So it's the end of the challenge. We had to use 3 boosters to do every map with the minimum amount of jumps and boosts. 2 of them were at the end of Dizzy Volcano, and the last one was at the rampart of Checker Cliff. I hope you enjoyed this video. This video was supposed to be out a month ago, but since the free cam update, I lost all of my motivation to work on this video, which is very dumb because I asked for this update. I did a whole 3 weeks pause during Checker Cliff and Springlock's tip part. But hey, if you enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe, and bye!